There is the little live button. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cocktail Hour. I'm Andy.
And I'm Rev.
And with us is our special guest, who's not as nearly as special as she used to be, because she's on all the time.
Why, hello. What an introduction.
I know, right? That's Colette. We actually love her, but, you know, we have to keep her honest, so we can't give her too much love. Anyway, so we're here to talk about, I think it's Laura McHugh's The Weight of Blood.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta love the title. So
yeah, I've pulled it up. We had a giveaway to announce, and I'm on my kid's computer, so I can't see who it was, but I will let you know for Barbara Ann Wright's book.
Right, get it? Right.
Right.
I'm having gin and tonics, y'all. Look at this big ass hefty glass. It's awesome.
And I'm also doing that. Colette's feeling. What were you feeling, Colette?
Tequila-y. So I'm having a margarita.
Excellent. Okay, so we haven't discussed our feelings about the book at all amongst ourselves. Before we get going, I just want to remind everybody, if you're here on Google Plus with us, you can join the conversation by leaving your questions and comments right there. And I don't have it set up on the website, so if you're watching right now, you're probably here, because I don't know how else you can do it. So feel free to pop in and join the conversation. I'm going to assume that we are going to be spoiler-filled, because I don't know how else we can discuss it. Okay. So one of the things when we picked this book that was we were kind of iffy about. I mean, I wasn't, but Andy and Colette were, because it says in the top, where they sometimes compare. And this is a debut author, so they have to put somebody out so that you can get a feel for what you're going to be doing. And it says, for fans of Gillian Flynn and Daniel Woodrell, and I don't know if y'all remember, but Colette and Andy really didn't care for Gone Girl.
Nope, but Colette lasted longer than
that she did. Yeah, she did.
He lasted a lot longer than I did. I think the last paragraph, the last chapter, she's like, "Fuck it."
All right. So anyway, here's the blurb of the book. It says, the Dane family's roots tangle deep in the Ozark mountain town of Henbane, but that doesn't keep 16-year-old Lucy Dane from being treated like an outsider. Folks still whisper about her mother, a bewitching young stranger who inspired local myths when she vanished years ago. When one of Lucy's few friends, slow-minded Cheri, spelled the same as my name also, is found murdered, Lucy feels haunted by the two lost girls, the mother she never knew and the friend she couldn't protect. Everything changes when Lucy stumbles across Cheri's necklace in an abandoned trailer and finds herself drawn into a search for answers. What Lucy discovers makes it impossible to ignore the suspicion cast on her own kin. More alarming, she suspects Cheri's death could be linked to her mother's disappearance, and the connection between the two puts Lucy at risk of losing everything. In a place where the bonds of blood weigh heavy, Lucy must decide where her allegiances lie.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so...
Okay, can I start out?
Oh, please.
Oh.
Colette, be nice.
I know!
That was absolutely nice. Please, start out. I don't even know what your reaction is based on. What was that?
She's like this. She's like, oh, yeah, I got that intro just way out.
She's like, oh, yeah, please, kick it off. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. First of all, I have to say I'm actually glad I read this book. Even though half the time I was listening to it on Audible, and half the time I was yelling at the in my truck, yelling at the console as the story's playing. But sadly, it was I finished it up a couple of weeks ago, and you know how my memory really, really sucks.
I was wondering why you read it so fast, so early.
Well, I thought it would take longer. Honestly, I thought it would take longer because that's what I do. I read it on the way to work, on the way home, on the way to work. So it's like a 20-minute one way, 20-minute back. So I figured it would take a lot longer than it really did. And overall, I got to say, I did actually enjoy it. That the two characters, Lucy and I think her mother's name was Lola.
Lila.
Sorry, Lila. Them popping back and forth, I'm telling you, I must be losing my entire mind because it took me a few minutes to figure out what the hell they were doing. Oh, this is Mom. I didn't realize it's present, past, present, past. It took me a couple minutes to figure it out. I probably should have admitted that. But overall, I got to say that the story, I thought was pretty engaging. I mean, there was a few times I wanted to snap the neck of both of those women in this story. But from start to finish, I'm like, I liked it. I think it was pretty good.
Excellent. I liked it too. And as I was listening, I kept thinking, I said, man, I wonder how Andy's doing with this back and forth in time thing.
Well, at least, I mean, they did announce at the beginning of each chapter whose POV it was coming from.
Yeah.
So that was... and since you were listening to it on audio, I mean, they did bother to get two different voice actors for it, so that must have been a little bit helpful for you as well.
They sounded the same, though.
Oh, you think so?
But I didn't realize,
Kind of. I mean, one of them had Lila's voice was a bit deeper, and Lucy had that more of a country, that country accent along with hers. But I think they both were good.
Yeah, but what I'm suggesting, I didn't realize that Lila was Lucy's mother. So it was a passage minutes to realize that that's who it was.
Oh,
I missed something because I was, paying attention to traffic or maybe something where I might have missed the initial cue.
So it wasn't the transitions then that were kicking your ass. It was like, who the hell is this other chick?
Yeah, like, what the fuck? Yeah, that was it. Yeah, but I figured it out. It didn't take too long, but I'm like, what did I miss? Who is this? But once, I figured it out, I'm like, oh. So, yeah.
You're talking about the POVs. One thing that I thought was that I liked was that Lila and Lucy had first-person POVs, and then they still had a bunch of other people who got POVs in this, but they were all in the third person. There were two people who I didn't think should have probably had a POV, and I'm interested to see what you guys think. So there's, for you folks who haven't read this. Again, if you're just joining in, we're going to spoil the hell out of it. But if you haven't read it, there's Lucy, who is the daughter of Lila and Carl, and Lila went missing. It was said that she committed suicide in the woods, and they never found her body or anything like that. And Carl, his brother is named Crete, and you find out. I think it doesn't take all that long for you to figure out that Crete is kind of a sleazy
creepy guy.
Yeah, and then in addition to Crete and Carl and Lila and Lucy, there is Lila's best friend Gabby and her daughter Bess, who is Lucy's best friend. Then you have Daniel, who's an older young guy, like in his 20s, I think he was, who works for Crete. Crete owns a store, and also peddles in prostitution and trafficking of human beings. Which you don't find all that out until a bit later, and then there's also Ransom, who's a woman who works for Crete, and then there's also Birdie, who is kind of like this doctor. She takes care of animals. She's not a veterinarian, she's not a doctor, but she learned, she knows how to do stuff. So that's who they go to when they need some help. So those are really the I think I covered pretty much everybody. There's also a lawyer in there who kind of comes into play.
Yeah, but he doesn't have much of a showing.
Right. And then so for the POVs, I didn't think Crete's POV added anything that couldn't have been added to somebody else, and I didn't think that that Gabby's POV really added anything.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think Birdie and Ransom, I think they had a lot to add that we wouldn't have found out otherwise, like about the other girls and stuff like that.
Because the story unravels more with the secondary characters. They fill in these big chunks of information that you don't get from the main characters. So I mean, it's nice how it's so symbiotic. How the author worked that out.
The reveals. One of the things about this book that it seemed to me that there was maybe like one, maybe two scenes where it was kind of actiony and you're kind of sitting on the edge of your seat like, oh, this is going to happen. But for the most part, it seemed like it was kind of slow paced, and the way things were revealed. I liked the way that things were revealed. They were just kind of like, boom, there it is, and then we kind of move on. So you're getting all of these different pieces to the puzzle, but there's not like this big reveal, I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. It's like slow like the setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Slow like Cheri.
The slow-witted Cheri. So, Colette, did you like it? Yes, not me.
I have mixed feelings. I liked it much more than Gone Girl, which I didn't like at all. I was able to get all the way through this book because I was interested in the characters, but I do have to add the caveat that I could not listen to this for an extended period of time because it's so fucking depressing.
It was a little depressing.
In fact, I wrote my own alternate title for this book because I feel like The Weight of Blood really doesn't tell me anything. So if I were going to title this book, I would call it The Ozark Book of Despair and Dismal Shititarium.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
Because I mean, almost everybody in this book is an asshole. Like, and not just like my latte's too cold asshole, but like women are shit asshole. Like even the women are shitty to women and don't think highly of women. Almost every woman in this book was shitty to women.
Lila and Lucy weren't. Do you think Bess was?
Okay, isn't she the one who hooked up with the assistant principal?
Yeah, but that doesn't make her a shitty person or an asshole.
Okay. All right, well then I will withdraw the term asshole, and then we'll just turn her into a gullible victim.
I think that would probably be more fitting. I mean, but you got to look at the setting too. I mean, these aren't sophisticated folks. I definitely Ransom for sure. Absolutely. She Ransom and I don't know. I'm torn about Birdie because I mean she loved and cared for. She was just kind of weird, She was like that back hills, bizarre kind of person. But she really loved Lila, and she really tried to protect Lucy. I think Ransom was the only asshole.
Wait,
he was doing self-preservation.
What?
Who was the chick that was caring for Lila once she got into the skin trade?
Yeah, that was Ransom.
That was that was Ransom?
Mhm.
Yes.
I couldn't remember. I knew there was somebody I wanted to beat the shit out of.
Yeah, her for sure. She was, as far as I'm concerned, she was no better than Crete or whoever else those the other people were. And that's that vice principal. There were some things that there were. I was able to figure out a lot of it as we were going. Not very much ahead of as things were revealed, but I was kind of surprised by that guy. Just after she had started sleeping with, after Bess had started sleeping with them, and I mean, he was kinky and all that, but I didn't expect. I thought that was going to be kind of a red herring, but it wasn't.
Yeah, clearly not.
What a sick fuck. Jesus.
But like even Carl ends up being more culpable than I expected him to be. I mean, he ends up having a lot more knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And even his, and we said we're doing spoilers, right?
Yep.
Okay, so even his, oh my God, my brother called me to dispose of this dead body of this girl that, he abducted and had been forcing into prostitution. So I'm not going to bury her. I'm just going to put her body parts in this tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he thought he was doing a good thing. He says, but that was one of the things about this book that that I really had to think about when it was done more. Is it really there's so much focus on sacrifice for family and protecting the family, and blood is everything, kin is everything, and there were things like that. With Carl, shoving the body parts in the tree across the street from the store, he was never going to turn his brother in, and even all the stuff that he gave up all of his property and all of his stuff for to Crete to secure Lila's security or whatever. I mean, there was so much of it that I wanted just to beat the shit out of him and say, stop it. Kill that dude or turn him in, but it was all about family.
Yeah.
Which is why I've abandoned all of my family. I would never do anything like that.
Good for you.
I think so.
And of course, Crete and Carl had a miserable fucking mother. So you just wanted to kind of trip her going down the stairs. Oh my God.
I thought it was really interesting that Crete protected Carl from the knowledge of exactly how his mother was for as long as he could. That was toward the end where that was probably the only thing that was useful out of Crete's POV, was getting a glimpse of how he had protected Carl.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I still don't care.
Yeah, he was still a maggot.
I liked how Lila wanted the mom around. That was important for her since she didn't have her parents. She did not want to have that crazy old bat in the nursing home. I'd have left her ass there personally.
I would have left. Yeah, she'd have gone right back in after that weekend.
But she did.
House? Oh hell no.
Oh, yeah. All right, Colette. So you finished. So you didn't like any of the women, but on further reflection, you maybe did a little.
Well, okay. I didn't say that I didn't like any of the women.
They were all assholes. Sorry.
No, most of the people in the book were assholes.
Yeah.
I obviously Crete is the villain, right? He's a terrible, horrific, human ballsack of a person. He's, and that you get a glimpse of pretty early on when you find out how he enticed Lucy's mother to town in the first place, that he's seeking out women who don't have family or anybody who's going to come looking for them, the fact that he required a picture for a job application for what she thought was going to be like a caretaker job or a waitressing job. I mean, as soon as I was like, oh, girl. Yeah.
And she seemed to be a bit more savvy than that, you know? I mean, she had been around the block.
But she was pretty young. I mean, she had just aged out of the foster care system, so it's not like she had a lot of life experience. And then, of course, there's a pretty violent rape that happens that is very upsetting. And like most rapes, it ends up being somebody that she is required to keep in her life forever.
Yep.
So that was pretty awful. And, you know, the fact that the townspeople attributed her to have some sort of witchcraft powers because everybody thought she was hot was nothing short of infuriating. That lady makes me want her. She must be a witch. We're going to have to burn her. As soon as I stop masturbating, I'm going to go burn her.
That was so creepy.
No shit.
Jesus. Was his name Jamie?
Yeah, exactly.
And then he was creepy with the kid, too. He was creepy with Lucy. But eventually, I mean, he did... See, and that was the thing. You know, there were some people in the book that that were just reprehensible and awful, and then they did something completely against what we thought they would do, for whatever their own reasons were. You know, like I was really surprised that he didn't turn around. I'm not going to say that at all. He didn't change his personality. He didn't have some come to Jesus moment, but he did something that was right for whatever reason it was. You know.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Jamie, the creepy.
Oh, right, the creepy guy.
Creepy dude. Yeah, I mean, but in the end, you
say the creepy dude, but that's not adequate description enough to really talk about. I mean, the creepy young drug dealer. Yes. I guess is what we should say, as opposed to the fucked up assistant principal who's buying little girls and torturing them.
Yeah,
not that creepy dude.
Yeah.
Not the creepy store owner who's dealing in trafficking and prostitution and rape and murder. Yeah, not him. Not that one.
And that's why I feel like this is the shititarium, because it was so depressing, dude. It was just, I couldn't listen to this for more than 2 or 3 hours, and I'd have to turn it off and go do something else, because otherwise I would just want to lay on the floor in the fetal position. Because it's like, God, life sucks. It sucks so bad.
I think I've been reading too many mystery thriller books, because I mean I recognize that it was depressing, and there was very, very little joy or happiness at any portion of the book, but it didn't affect me. I don't know. I guess I go into it expecting to have no joy, but I mean I think. That's what I read romance for, When I'm done with a book like this, then I have to go read. A happily ever after romance.
Yeah, I'm really glad I only listened to it 20 minutes at a time. Honestly,
I listened to it for hours.
What? At one sitting?
Wow. Well, I did it. I read it last week, or this past week. I finished it yesterday. So I guess it was only 10 hours. It was 10 hours. I guess I was listening to it in shorter periods of time. So maybe that's why I wasn't ready to slit my wrists. I don't know. But it ended well. It ended happy, right? I mean, it ended as happy as it could possibly have ended.
Yeah, I guess. Some people die.
And the death was a cheat. You learn all about it. I thought that the way they killed Lila was just like, what? It just, it was.
But I
just
don't believe
so
that happened. I don't believe that.
What?
Where Crete said that she fell or whatever, that she.
Yeah, I mean the author gave you a lot of other resolutions to weird shit or shit that happened.
But did they or did they not find like one of her bones in the river? Right? I mean, that's what that was, right?
Was that hers or was that Cheri's? I don't remember.
Well, I
don't
think there were any missing parts of Cheri. She was a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle, but I think she was all there. I assumed that the weird bone that was calling to our creepy drug dealer dude, who ends up sort of quasi-redeeming himself, but he's still a horrible person.
Let's make that clear.
Right. I don't want you guys to think that that guy's not a horrible person. It's just that on a scale of 1 to 10, he's only like an 8. And everybody else is like a 12 or a 15. Yeah, I assumed that weird bone that was calling to him from the river, that was Lila.
It must be. I think I've forgotten about that. So yeah, I'm sure that you're right.
I just remember I felt cheated because I didn't have anything about how Lila died.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then I would also say that I almost found it a little bit deceptive that Lila's stuff was all in first person, because honestly, there was a time when I was kind of thinking she's not dead. She's not dead.
Oh, I never thought that.
She's first person. She's still alive. I see. She's telling all this like she's still there, and I thought that there was a point where Lila might appear.
Oh, yeah, I never thought that.
And then we even get to the juncture where she's there with Crete, and she has a gun, which he, of course, takes from her because...
That's what they do.
Because no good things ever happened to that woman.
She had a baby. She loved her baby.
Yeah, it may have been her rapist baby, but
But she still loved it. It was her baby.
Cool.
That's fine.
Yeah, then like Andy was saying, there's no real resolution on what happens. I mean, you kind of get the ball gets teed up there, and then the chapter ends, and we don't really know exactly what happened. And the fact that like up until that point, I was still thinking, she may emerge because all of this is being told from her POV. Maybe she's not dead, and then in the end, it's like, nope, totally dead. So I was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
It is. I didn't think that. I never thought that she was alive. I always thought that she was dead, but I can totally see why you would have thought that.
Yep.
I didn't think about it that I didn't think about it that
well, maybe I was just like too meta for my own good.
It's possible. It's possible. So,
So we've got some listeners out there. Anybody read this book? Anybody have anything, 2 cents to weigh in? Anything?
Anybody visit the shititarium that wants to?
Oh my God! You got to put that in the show notes, Cheri.
I would if I write it down. Hold on. Anne says hi. Okay.
Hello,
Colette? What did you call it? The Ozark.
The Ozark Book of Despair and Dismal Shititarium. You can spell that however you want.
Of Despair and Dismal
Shititarium.
Shititarium.
Yeah, because it felt like, I mean, it kind of reminded me of, what was that movie that Heath Ledger was in right before he died? The Imaginarium of blah, 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 right? And I was like, but this is like a shititarium. Like everything that is encapsulated in this bubble is so shitty. Like the people are shitty, and they're shitty to each other, and they think that women are just a horrible commodity to be sold and taken and ruined, and they're not real people anyway. And it was just like, wow, yeah. And it became the shititarium.
But this could have been what the author was actually going for. I mean, if she was on, she might have said, that was the impression I was trying to give.
Well, and if it hadn't been completely plausible, then it probably wouldn't have bothered me so much. Like, if they rode in on Magic Pegasus and then got raped, then I probably would have been, more okay with it. Because I've been like, whatever, this is
Would you have been
fantasy.
okay if they'd have been raped by the Magic Pegasus?
Oh, sweet Jesus, no. But,
okay. So there's a limit there.
But
okay.
again, at least, I don't really ever want to read or see any rape at all if we can help it. But again,
we knew that was going to happen.
This author obviously was going for realism, and it's not like human trafficking does not happen in the United States, and I'm sure it is pretty prevalent in Appalachia and the Ozarks and these types of really fiscally depressed areas, and I totally get that. But it was just so overwhelming.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy.
Yeah, if it hadn't been realistic, then I don't think it would have bothered me as much. But it's, and then did you read that she based at least the part about Cheri and her murder and her parts being found, that was based on a real thing.
Oh, really? No, I didn't read that.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dang.
Well, that makes me feel a little worse.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot
then
worse.
my job here is done.
Thanks. Maybe you need to stop reading those things. Did you know that before or after?
After.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, I think that I would recommend the book.
Just to get a laugh. Jesus.
I would recommend it. I think it was good.
I do laugh every time I damn read that book. That one and Seduction Moxie. Because that's my favorite. But, yeah, I need a laugh. I definitely need a laugh after thinking about this story again. Yeah. Heavy duty.
It was, yes. So you know what else I read? Are we done talking about this one?
Yeah. Oh, although we did. No, we're not playing a game on this one.
Oh, God, no.
No.
I picked the Magic Pegasus.
I'm with you. I don't want to play the game. No.
God, no.
Yeah, I mean, there is basically like one guy in this whole story who is not awful.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's it.
He was a good guy, yeah.
Everyone else, could probably be taken out by a sniper at some point in the novel, and I'd be absolutely okay with it.
A sniper on a magical Pegasus.
Yes. He rides through on a rainbow and shoots all the misogynists, and then he leaves again.
That would definitely take the population down considerably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, so the population would go from like 700 to like 2.
4.
Exactly.
So what I'm hearing in all this is you're not going to recommend this as a read to...
Well, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't recommend it. I think that the book was well done. It held my interest. It was a little too heavy for me to have in concentrated verse. I needed this book diluted with maybe some orange juice or vodka to really be able to get through it.
That's awesome. All right. I think that's fair.
Yeah. So we recommend it with the caveat that, don't read it while you're depressed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe read a comedy or watch a lot of fun TV or something in between.
There you go.
Or Teletubbies or something that's just completely colorful and mindless.
Okay.
Because, if you're sad and you read this, then you may just lock yourself in the garage and turn the car on.
Oh, no.
Cocktail Hour assumes no responsibility for any self-harm.
Well, I'm trying to warn people, read this at your own peril.
Yeah. All right, and there you have it.
It was a little heavy. All right. So, besides this, the week before I read this one, so I guess that would be last week. I read The Night Sister by Jennifer McMahon.
Oh, that's the chick that we read the other book she did,
the
right?
Lemurize one, yeah. The Winter People.
The Winter People.
Right. Which we tore the hell out of, but actually really, really liked.
Well, I mean, yeah, that one had a lot going on, as I recall.
This one, I have to say, I really liked. I liked it quite a bit more than I liked The Winter People. It seemed tighter and more. It had more of a. It had more supernatural type stuff. The characters seemed to be more believable and not just horrible asshole people. It was interesting. I liked it, and it kept my attention from beginning to end. It was family, family based type thing. Going back, and it was another focusing on two sets of people in different times, but related to each other. So, but it was really, I liked it a lot. So if any of you have read The Winter People and or you're looking for a different book, I think what the hell is this just called? The Night Sister. It was I liked it a lot.
All right, well, that's good to know.
Yeah. All right then.
Did you read anything else lately, Colette?
No, I'm just reading nonfiction now.
Ah, okay.
What are you reading?
Well, I am actually reading a book about Paul McCartney called Many Years From Now, which is pretty interesting to me.
What is the title?
Many Years From Now?
Many Years
From Now. Yeah, it's actually a line from the song When I'm 64. It's all about how the Beatles formed and then Paul's life in London during the Beatles, and I am up to Magical Mystery Tour at this point. The book is like 600 pages long and has a lot of direct interviews with him. So.
Oh, wow.
So are you doing any of this for research? Or
no,
I'm
just a Beatles person.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's because you have good musical taste. I'm just saying, because I wouldn't trust anybody that doesn't like the Beatles.
I don't really care for the Beatles.
What?
Oh.
I don't trust you now.
They're fine. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to them, but they're fine.
No, all right.
All right, that's
it.
it.
I was telling Cheri earlier that I just got done listening to Kate Mulgrew narrate/act the Fireman by Joe Hill. So this is my third Joe Hill novel, and I tell you, I enjoyed it, and not because Kate did the narration. And of course, there are times in this book where you want to just slap the shit out of some of the main characters, but they're all flawed human beings, and of course, it's Joe Hill, so people do get their comeuppance. Thank you, Joe. But it's interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but it's in the future, and folks get a virus that's called dragon scale, and they're culled out of the herd and separated and treated like lepers because a lot of these people just basically burst into flame, and the world is on fire because of them. But it's actually very fascinating, so I recommend it.
Good, because I have it and I want to read it, but I don't have the audio, so I'll probably read it with
give it a shot.
So what was the other Joe Hill book that you read besides?
I can't remember the name of it.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Really?
It was about the main character was a retired rock star, and he collects weird and unusual things, and his personal assistant winds up finding on eBay, I think, the suit of someone that died, and it had some backstory to it. I don't remember what it was, and so he's like, "Hell yeah, buy that! I'll have it." So the suit brings with it a specter of evil that is after the rock star to kill him. So the premise of it was actually really good, but the delivery did not quite make it.
Huh. It sounds like it's based on Michael Jackson. And all the odd things that he liked to collect and surround
He
himself.
collected children. Come on now.
Oh. I don't even think that that's true.
I know, I'm fucking around.
I think I feel like he was a Jehovah's Witness who happened to be a gay man, and he just couldn't deal with that.
Maybe.
And it made him really damaged.
Maybe. Could be right.
So, and obviously made him make horrifically stupid choices. We'll throw that in too.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Come on, children, come on over to my house. We'll all have a sleepover in my bed. It's like, what?
Are you channeling what's his name from Family Guy?
Who?
I don't know, that one character on Family Guy.
Oh, Herbert? No.
The one that goes, oh no, him and his gay boyfriend. That was
I don't know what his name is.
I don't remember his name. Is it Bruce?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, the title of that book I just talked about was Heart-Shaped Box.
Oh, that's been out for a really, really long time. Okay.
Yeah. I listened to it. I didn't read it. I listened to it on Audible. Yeah, I thought it fell flat. But I really did enjoy The Fireman. I just finished it up today.
All right. I'm going to move it up my list.
Yep. But don't be surprised if you don't want to bitch slap some of the characters, because it does. That feeling does come up.
All right. All right. So we need to figure out what we want to read on the next for the next show. So Andy had suggested The Exorcist. I threw out the
Blatty.
Right.
The Exorcist. Classic.
Are those gang signs that you were throwing out?
To Satan.
They're my Cheri signs.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
From the book, not from
Not me.
Not you. The other Cheri.
These are my gang signs.
The murder victim.
All right. So we're thinking like something kind of classic, that maybe we haven't read before that would be good to go back and give a shot to. Colette, do you have any books that you've kind of always wanted to read, but you never got around to? And if anybody's watching and you've got a suggestion, kick it on over.
Hell yeah, kick it on.
Have you guys read Frankenstein?
Yes.
I have not. I have not.
Yep, I did. That and Dracula, the original, yeah.
I read Dracula. Boy, I did not care for it.
Really? I actually liked it.
I did. I listened. Oh, I listened to the full cast production with Tim Curry as Von Helsing, and I just didn't. It was. I didn't like the format where it was all letters. No, I didn't care for it. I mean, I'm glad that I read it, but I don't think I'd ever read it again.
I would love to hear that. Holy crap! I love Tim Curry, and the Dracula story was awesome.
I felt like I got kind of ripped off because the big billing is Tim Curry, but Van Helsing has a tiny little piece. I mean, he's only in the book for a short amount of time. It was almost solidly Jonathan or Mina.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, okay. Ann Geary just kicked out Anne Rice's The Witches books. I have tried to read The Witching Hour several times, and I always end up putting it down. First of all, it's that thick in paperback, but I enjoy it while I'm reading it, but then I just get overwhelmed and put it down. I would not mind reading an Anne Rice book. I did just reread a few months ago Interview with the Vampire, and I still enjoyed that. I did the audio. I got the audio from my library, I think. Good suggestion.
Yeah, I remember reading it. Where did it come out? I think I was in high school. No, just after. I think it came out in the early '80s, right?
I think so, because we didn't discover it until the I think mid-90s.
Yeah. I know. I read it when it was still, hot and new and on the top 10, and I was really impressed with it.
Colette, you said that you've not read it?
I've never read anything by Anne Rice.
What?
Now, there was an extended period of time where I worked at a bookstore, and I know that the Anne Rice fans are very colorful people. And I also know that we had to keep in stock her beauty trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of perverse erotica that she wrote. And I did pick one up and flip through that until I was horrified and put it back on the shelf.
I will say that I didn't enjoy Interview with the Vampire this time around nearly as much as I did the first time, so I don't know if I would.
What do you think the difference is?
I'm older.
Wiser.
Yeah, I think maybe my tastes
more
are
jaded.
A little bit different. Yeah,
more jaded.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I still enjoyed it. There's a lot of cool historical stuff in it, and I do like the character Louis. He was a bit whiny. And he was whiny in the movie too, but he's kind of super whiny. Anne says they came out from 1990 to 94, which actually, so I read them not too long after they came out. Yeah.
Is she talking about like the Snow White or which series? The erotic series or the?
No, I think the Vampire Chronicles. And there are loads of them. There are like 13, 14 or more books in that. Yeah. So, and I think I read the Interview with the Vampire, Vampire Lestat. I think I read the one after that, which might have been Armand. And then I read The Mummy, which I enjoyed, and The Queen of the Damned. I think that was it. Oh, The Mayfair Witches. Oh, okay. Thank you, Anne.
I didn't read Queen of the Damned, but I do like the movie, and I heard that people that liked the book hated the movie.
I did not. Yeah, because I liked the book and I hated the movie.
See, now I hated the movie and I didn't read the book, so. I actually ended up laughing through much of that movie, and although I guess it was probably just me and the people that I was watching the movie with were the ones who were disruptive and laughing, but I mean, isn't that the one that had Aaliyah in it?
It is, yeah.
And she was so bad.
She was terrible, and Anne also says hated the movie, loved the book. So you're all alone in this one, Andy.
No, Anne just proved my point, though. Most people that like the movie or read the book hated the movie. So I mean, I have not talked to anybody that read the book that liked the movie, ever.
Yeah.
Colette didn't even like the movie, so.
No. Yeah. All right, so probably not an Anne Rice. Are there any Stephen King books that...
Classic Stephen King. I'm probably before he had that truck hit him. I mean, everything after that, he seemed wacky. I don't know,
That's the line of demarcation?
I really think so, yeah. He did what was that, Kingdom Hospital? I knew he jumped off the deep end, seriously.
I don't know, I quit reading him years and years and years ago. But I mean, I would give it a shot.
His earlier stuff I really enjoy it, like It. I think It was an amazing multi-layered story with some really interesting characters. And in fact, they're doing a new miniseries I think is going to come out. And Tim Curry is not going to be Pennywise, but probably because I think Tim Curry is now relegated to a wheelchair, poor guy. But I think it's supposed to be darker and edgier than the miniseries that came out, I think, in the early 90s or late 80s.
Well, I'll tell you what concerned me about Stephen King. I was reading an interview with him years and years ago, and they asked him, what movie adaptation of one of your works have you been most disappointed with? And he said The Shining.
Yeah.
Really?
Which I think is a brilliant movie.
Did you read the book?
I did not. But then they said, well, which one have you been most excited about? And he said, fucking Pet Cemetery,
Oh,
which is
no.
like a shit stain. So clearly, the man's judgment cannot be trusted.
Yeah.
That movie is terrible.
Yeah, well,
I didn't think
okay.
it was terrible, but it wasn't. It certainly wasn't one of his best. And throughout Cheri would be a good read. I've read Cheri.
I read Cheri. The thing with I got to go back to The Shining. I'm more of a purist when it comes to The Shining because I got to tell you, I hated the 1980 movie with Jack Nicholson and what's her name, Olive Oil.
Shelley Duvall.
I like that you still refer to her as Olive Oil.
He's the perfect olive oil.
Speaking of bad movies.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was awful.
It was terrible.
I am what I am. Yeah, it was bad.
Oh God.
But the movie adaptation with them in it, I mean, it has iconic moments because I don't think anybody on the planet doesn't know that here's Johnny, you know, when Nicholson sticks his head through the door. But that movie was so different than the book. It almost wasn't even justified calling it The Shining. It was just horrible as a book to film adaptation. It was absolutely horrible. And I think this goes back to like Queen of the Damned. You know, there are people that read the book and love it and hate the movie. I read The Shining, and I got to tell you, that was the single most exciting, wonderful, fantastic book that to that point that I had ever read. And it made a really, really big impression on me. And when I saw the movie when it came out, because I think The Shining came out in 77 or 78, so when the movie came out, I was really wanting good things out of this. I didn't even recognize the landscape. It wasn't anything like well, it had certain elements that were like the book, but it was just such a letdown. And it wasn't until 1995, 96, I think there was a TV miniseries that came out with Rebecca De Mornay and Steven Weber of The Shining. I was like 5 nights. That was almost word for word The Shining, the novel.
Oh, I have to find. I wonder if that's available still. I liked the book a lot. I thought the book was
fantastic.
Actually, there were parts of the movie that I did like, but not that they were related to the book at all. Just different things that I liked about the movie.
Yeah.
And throughout Firestarter also, which I did like a lot. And I thought the movie for Firestarter was good too. With
I love that. I didn't read the book, but I thought Drew Barrymore was fantastic in casting.
The book I thought was really good. And again, most of these I read when I was a teenager. So
it's classic King.
Yeah. The other one that I thought was really good was The Dead Zone. I like the concept of it. I just liked the tension of it. Again, I was a teenager and like a young teen when I read these, but yeah. I think maybe the last one I read by him might have been Dolores Claiborne.
No. Didn't you read Dr. Sleep, which is the sequel?
No, I did not. Nope, I didn't. I didn't. I think I got it from Amazon. I don't think or not Amazon, Audible, and I don't think I returned it. I think which one did I return? Maybe Mr. Mercedes. I got 2 from Audible from Stephen King, and I'm sure I returned one of them. I just don't remember. I had gotten Mr. Mercedes and Dr. Sleep. I think I returned Dr. Sleep because I didn't want to reread The Shining, and I didn't.
It was not. It was not The Shining. Honestly, it was Danny Grown Up.
Oh, okay.
Danny Grown Up was not the Danny of the book.
Did you like it?
I did. I did enjoy it, but not nearly as much because, I mean, it follows in the shadow of this great novel that, preceded it. And I'm surprised Stephen King actually tried to tackle the story of Danny after The Shining. I really am. It had elements where, you're like, holy shit, that's really cool. And then, but I don't know. It was, and he made the character of Danny very real. And sometimes you just gnash your teeth going, just knowing what the psychological problems that Danny had after The Shining happened as he, and then grew up with that horrible mess. was, I think, would be very true to if he was real, what he would have to go through. But it was a little heart-wrenching to read it, but it's still pale compared to The Shining itself.
So, I don't know, you want to read The Shining?
Sure, I'm always... That's like asking me if I want to read, Seduction of Moxie.
Colette, what do you think?
Yeah, I've never read it. I would also be interested in reading The Dead Zone because I think that sounds kind of fascinating.
Have you not read The Dead Zone before?
I have not.
Okay, so why don't we? Okay, so they're not that long. So why don't we pick The Dead Zone? Well, let's just do both.
What? Wait, isn't The Dead Zone like a full novel?
Yeah, but I mean, we're not going to do the next show until the 17th?
Yeah.
It's a month and a half.
I'm game because I like The Shining, and I could probably zip through that in probably a day and a half.
Yeah, and I mean, his books aren't real. I mean, I don't think they're that heavy. Family Time, I believe, has begun downstairs. So we'll do classic. This will be the classic Stephen King show.
All right. You good with that?
Sure.
Colette?
All right. And I will check my library to see. These are so old. If there's audio available, I'm pretty sure I should be able to grab them.
And honestly, I can't tell you enough, though. If you can get your hands on an inexpensive copy of the Shining miniseries, the 5-9 extravaganza that came out in mid-90s, if you can get your hands on it, listeners, if you can get your hands on it, check it out. Because I think that Steven Weber and Rebecca De Mornay did a fantastic job. The kid that they got to do Danny, he drove me the fucking absolute insane, though. That's the one downside of that miniseries, because this is one of those kids that always has his mouth kind of open like a mouth breather, and you can see his gum line. Drives me out of my mind. But aside from that, it's actually very, very faithful to the book. Very faithful.
All right, and then, as an added bonus, we could, both of these are movies, so...
isn't Christopher... watch the movie?
No, but we could, that would be an additional thing that we could talk about. I believe Christopher Walken is in The Dead Zone, the movie.
He's awesome.
And he is great in it. I may have to, I'm going to have to watch this again.
You know what? He's one of those guys that has seriously bad acting, but he's so iconic that you can't help but not enjoy watching him do his craft. Seriously?
No, he was fantastic. In Pulp Fiction, he was... I think that may have been his best role in Pulp Fiction.
Every word the man says has a period after it. You know what I mean? It's like... I thought William Shatner was bad with all that emoting. Seriously? Oh my God, Walken takes the cake, but he's awesome. He's brilliant.
But he used to be like a real actor, though. Before he became sort of this weird, eccentric character actor. He was wasn't he in The Deer Hunter?
He was. Yep.
He did some.
He was also a singer and dancer. I believe he was on Broadway or off Broadway or something like that.
I think he lost his shit when he was on that boat the night Natalie Wood died.
Well, if he did lose his shit, he didn't lose it enough to open his fucking mouth and talk about what happened.
But psychologically, I think it triggered something in him. Seriously, everything after that brainstorm or whatever that he and Natalie Wood were filming at the time she died, everything that came after that was just wasn't the same actor. I don't know. That's my opinion. But, they're like assholes.
I have no sympathy for the man.
All right, and on that note, we're out of time.
No, we're actually right on time.
I know, but I don't want to get you guys ramped up and.
Oh my God! Right, get us drinking and ramped up. All right, so our next show is September 17th. So it's a little bit far out in advance, but I think the show that we will produce will be fantastic.
It will be a show.
Not a shit show. It'll be like a fantastic show.
It will.
Yes.
No shititarium.
Guaranteed. Yes. Guaranteed. I've read both of
God.
these books, and I think they'll be fine. Yes.
It'd be awesome. All right, well, thank you all for tuning in and listening, and drop us a line. Say how much you love us. Just saying. Thank you, Cheri, for being here and being yourself, because we love you. And thank you, Colette, because you're wonderful and we love you too. But we don't like to tell you that too often. We don't want you to get a big head. I'm just saying.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Good night.